Good day everyone, and welcome back to the latest installment of Biddy and Miley's story. You can see the story starts off at 6 minutes past 6 this morning, with Miley getting straight to work and bringing in some food for Biddy and the newly hatched chicks. And if you've been watching yesterday, you would know that there are 2, possibly 3 chicks hatched. And I think by the end of the day, nearly all but 1 has hatched, but we'll get more to that later. You can see Miley bringing in a nice caterpillar for the chicks here, and Biddy decides to eat it. And he is looking quite confused at the sight of her eating it, but it's not long before she tells him to get out. I suppose a girl needs to eat. We knew Miley was having some trouble feeding the chicks, but he seems to be overcoming it as he has quite a few successful feeds today, this being just one of them. But he will still opt to give the food to Biddy if she's there. This is also when I think another chick has hatched, as you'll see why in a minute. Miley brings out quite a big piece of eggshell, followed by Biddy looking down at the chicks and probably helping the chick out of the last piece of eggshell. And we also get here just a nice little view of her eating the eggshells. It's amazing that they have the instinct to do this. Nothing is wasted in the natural world. And as I've said before, Miley will always opt for giving the food to Biddy if she's there. I have seen other males being quite hesitant to do this in the past. They sometimes hold on to the food until the female leaves to feed the chicks, as they want to do it. But our Miley seems to be more interested in making sure the chicks get fed and learning how to do it right. He really looks like he's getting in there and looking at what's happening. We get a nice view of the 2 chicks here. There are more in the nest, but we can also see that there's 1 egg. Now I don't actually see the next egg hatching, but by the end of the day, I do believe we have all but 1 hatched. But again, we'll get to that at the end of the video. You really have to appreciate what a pretty bird Miley is. After seeing Biddy for so long, you really get to appreciate just how pretty his plumage is. It's quite a magnificent looking male. I also don't quite remember in past years seeing the male attentively look at the female feeding the chicks like this. He really seems to watch her every move. It's quite endearing. Miley also seems to be getting the hang of feeding. He has a successful feed with one of the chicks here. Success! A lovely green caterpillar gets brought in here by Miley and straight to Biddy. And you can see again him watching her feed. And we can see here Miley attempting another feed. Will this be 3 for 3? Maybe next time. But that doesn't deter him, and it's not long until he's back to Biddy with another bit of food. Miley is a little over-ambitious here and brings in a huge caterpillar. Now later on the chicks won't have any problem with this, but at the moment that's just too big for the chicks. And Biddy recognises this and ends up eating it herself. And you can see here Miley collecting a fecal sac. And that is when the chicks will actually poo, and they just eat it straight up. And you can see it here in even greater detail, right here. So he feeds the chick in one end and out the other. And that right there is why you subscribe to this channel. Now my guess is as to why they eat them is that there would be a lot of leftover nutrients in the fecal sac, especially off young chicks. Now they stop eating them, I believe, when they're older. But as their digestive system, I would imagine, is still developing, there would be a lot of leftover nutrients. And as I've said before, in the natural world, very little is wasted. We get a lovely sequence here of both parents in the nest and feeding their chicks, and they're just sitting quite symmetrically either side of the nest. It's just a really pretty picture. Them chicks are already looking more lively than they were yesterday. It's amazing, these chicks are just going to get hungrier and hungrier, and they're just going to get more and more relentless in asking their parents for food. Nature never ceases to amaze me, and it's always amazing to me that when you see a blue tit, take Biddy or even Miley, that they have went through all of this before. They were hatched in a little nest somewhere, reared like this by another pair of blue tits, and now they're rearing their own. It really is amazing. So now that we're coming to the end of the day, it's now time to try to figure out just how many chicks there are in the nest. So we see here as Biddy leaves, just for a split second, all the chicks are up. So I count 5 there myself, and possibly an egg down below. Now sometimes eggs don't hatch, but again we can see 5 chicks here. And that last egg may hatch. It will definitely be the runt of the brood if it does. But it's still a small enough brood, 5 or 6, so it's a nice brood, and there's plenty of chances that all the chicks will survive. So that was pretty much all the action of yesterday, and I will leave you with a shot of the chicks here as they nod off to sleep. So until next time guys, thanks for watching, please subscribe and we'll see you again. Bye bye.